Okay, thank you for joining us here on the first episode of Neighborhood Spotlight for Living in Grapevine, Texas. I'm Elliot, and I'm sitting here with Miss Maria Wilder of Mortgage Matters, and I am here to highlight her business today and how it is operating in today's climate. So, how long have you been doing mortgage lending?
Kind of a crazy story. I was living in Memphis, got divorced, could live anywhere I wanted, so I came here and I was started in the mortgage industry as the HR director.
Okay.
So got hired at a mortgage company, spent 3 years as HR, and then moved into loan origination. So I got to see a little bit of the backside before I dipped my toe in. But as a loan officer, this is year number 5. So I've seen a lot of crazy stuff.
So I know that technology has really started to play a role in the real estate and mortgage industry. What separates you from some of these other companies like Rocket Mortgage or Quicken Loan, some of these big box companies that people just have access to?
They really do have access to, and you can apply in the middle of the night, and it's an easier front sometimes for people to be able to go that route. The downside of one of those is the really lack of personal touch. Okay. And what we see, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, is people want a local lender.
Right.
They want to be able to call somebody and the lender pick up the phone. They want the same lender to pick up the phone every time, the same loan officer. Because sometimes when you call those big box places, you may get somebody different looking at your loan every time.
So it's almost like it's convenient whenever you can just kind of easily check and see what you would be pre-approved for. However, it's almost more convenient on the back end dealing with somebody like you who I can get a hold of.
Absolutely. And we can see our clients. So if our client says, hey, I don't understand this, hey, let's meet up. I got an office in Arlington. I live in Grapevine. A lot of opportunity here. We could find a place even like this to come meet at. We can do a Zoom call so you can see a live person.
Right.
So to me, that makes a ton of difference, and just being available.
Let's just say, for instance, I want to look at purchasing a house or going through a refinance or something like that. Like when should I start discussing that with you or another lender?
Me, of course, not another lender.
Right.
Of course. I think it's important to do it early on. And what I do with folks is when they call, I say, let me ask some questions. What do we think your credit score is? If you've got a 700 or 800 credit score, that's great. That's one thing we don't have to worry about. If you say, well, I'm 600, maybe you're low 600 or maybe you're 680, and we can get you to 700, then let's work now. Let's see if we can move credit score up now, because sometimes I can give you some advice of what we can do to move your score up 10, 20, 30 points.
Right.
And that way, if we can get you over the next little milestone on the credit report, that helps a whole lot. I also have buyers who say, just sign my lease. Not interested in buying right now. Maybe they relocated and they want to test out the area, or maybe they just started a new job and they're uncomfortable making any other big move right now. But they're like, look, I'm in a lease for a year. I don't want to lease again.
Yeah.
So let's talk now to make sure you're in good shape.
So realistically, it sounds like there's never really a bad time to have that kind of conversation, especially if it's on the radar. So is it just credit score that matters whenever I'm looking to buy a house?
A lot of moving parts on it. Credit score is a big one. We also need to look at income and your job. There's a lot of different, not myths, that's not the right word, just unknowns of jobs. You hear that you've got to be in your job for 2 years.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
You could have been at this company as a manager and moved to this company as a manager, and a year here and a year here, and you're fine.
Okay.
It could be that you just started a job today, and maybe we just need one pay stub at this new job, and you're okay. So every scenario is a little bit different.
Right.
If you're self-employed, 1099, now that's a whole different ball game. Nurses, if you go from being paid one way to another way. Truck drivers, if you go being paid one way to another way. Those can all make it a little more difficult.
Yeah, kind of unique situation. I understand. There's all this rumblings about these higher interest rates, right? That's going on right now. So like, if I want to buy a house, why should I buy a house right now, given the current state of where the interest rates are? Because they're high, right?
They're high. This is overall, if you look back 10, 20 years, they're not that high. But for us right now, they were so low a couple years ago that they've doubled. And so people are a little bit nervous. Had this conversation all day long. So there's a lot of different thoughts. So when you buy a house and we're under contract, we lock your interest rate. and everybody gets an interest rate that they qualify for based on their credit score and how much down payment and what the loan amount's going to be. There's just a formula behind the scenes. So you get whatever rate that is, and you can pay points and get a lower interest rate.
Okay.
So there are some things going right now. There's a 2-1 buy down where if we can get money from the seller, buyer can't pay for it, you can't pay for it, I can't pay for it. But if the seller will pay, we can lower your interest rate for 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
That gives you a little bit of a break now as a buyer to where, because most people make more money over the course of a year or two. So let's get you into a house at this rate. It's going to go up next year. It's going to go up again the next year, and it'll stop there. So it's not an arm or anything. It's just a 2-year buy down. 2 years from now, you're probably going to make a little bit more money. That higher interest rate, that higher payment probably won't affect you as much as it feels like it does right now.
Right.
So that's one option. The other option is, gosh, right now you're not having to pay over appraisal. There's not as many people looking at houses. House goes on the market and it sits a little longer. Because what was it? 3 months ago, 6 months ago, house came on the market, there were 20 offers. You didn't even have a chance at it.
Right.
And people were paying crazy money over. So right now you don't have all of that. So if you've got to pay a little bit more in interest and not pay $50,000 over for the house, you're not going to pay $50,000 more in this interest.
It almost sounds like a trade-off.
Yeah, I'd rather get the house I want for less money because rates are going to go down and you can always refinance. So let's refinance at some point in the future and get your monthly payment kind of down where you want, but get the house.
Right. So as the interest goes up, does that mean that my interest rate goes up whenever I buy the house?
Great question. Nope, you get a fixed rate. So we lock you in, you get a fixed rate, and your mortgage stays at that rate for the next 30 years. If you refinance at some point, then your rate will change at that point. If you ever want to do a cash out to get money out of the house, at that point your rate would change. But no, we'll lock you in at a fixed rate, so that is your rate.
What made you want to live in Grapevine? Why did you choose Grapevine?
So I've got a crazy story. I was living in downtown Fort Worth. We bought a little house to bulldoze it and build dream home.
Oh, wow.
We wanted, I love to cook. I wanted a great kitchen. I wanted a pool. My husband's a musician. He wanted a music studio. So we were building a 2-story house, elevator up, and full music studio upstairs. So he could go upstairs and work.
Yeah.
So while we were bulldoze the house, we could live anywhere where we did that. So we chose Grapevine. So we picked here to rent for a while. And we hadn't been in Grapevine very much at all. You know, you come here for Christmas parade or you come here for Grape Fest. And we said, let's just go try something different. My husband works right up the street, so it was a close commute for him.
Okay.
So great, something new. And we get here and the architects took a little longer to build and prices went up a little bit and it was taking a long time. And so while it was taking a long time to get ready to build, I kind of fell in love with Grapevine. One
last question I have here is, as far as Grapevine Main Street, she's already mentioned it. What's your favorite restaurant to go to?
Oh, gosh, there are so many good ones here, but probably hands down would be the Bacchus Bar and Restaurant inside Hotel Bend.
Okay. So that's basically, there's Harvest Hall, and then that's the restaurant with the Hotel Bend.
So if it's not the place for you, like I was going to mention, Harvest Hall is like attached. So it's like I don't know. It's not a food court. It's not like a mall food court.
It's food courtish, but it's like it's like an upgrade.
It's such an upgrade.
Yeah.
And
they've got like a bar and all kinds of stuff.
And ice cream and coffee shop and tables out. So you can go there, and if you want a certain kind of food and I want a certain kind of food, we both go to our own places and bring it back. And so we still get to eat together. It's just different variety. And they got live music at night and a mixologist who makes amazing drinks.
So it's great whenever you're in a disagreement, can't decide what you want with your husband. So you're like, okay, we'll go and we'll grab this. I'll grab this. You grab this, and we'll meet in the middle. Well, that kind of wraps everything up here. Check out the full video on Park Bench, and I look forward to the next neighborhood spotlight. And check out Maria's page. I'll make sure to link everything, all the links to her there on the website. And we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good. Thank you.